My inquiry question for this assignment is, what effects do Eurocentric beauty standards have on women of color? My first source is Minority Women, Media, and Body Image, and this article basically discusses women, media, and body image, and it's very important because the media is a large outlet for Eurocentric beauty standards and where women of color see and experience what it looks like for Eurocentric beauty standards to be very prevalent. And this is an important source because the media is such a large outlet. I needed to include it in my paper and have information on it. My next source is High School Hair Protest Reveals Deep Lying Discrimination. And this is about a school in Africa, and the students are being told that their hair in its natural form is unacceptable for the school place, when of course your natural hair is not something that you can control and it should be accepted. And this source is very important because it shows how Eurocentric beauty standards do not only affect people in America but in other countries as well. Another source is Black Hair is Political and None of Your Business, and this is where a young lady discusses her journey from from relaxed hair to natural hair. And here she talks about how even her dad was unaccepting of it, and this just shows how these Eurocentric beauty standards have not only affected her and the actual women of color themselves, but their families and how people view them, and men in their communities as well. And another source is The Style and Status, and this source examines 20th century commercial beauty culture in terms of race and gender. And of course, I'll focus on the race part, and it discusses racial politics, and it talks about how African American and women of color are viewed and how they view themselves over time and throughout history. Then there's UF groups to discuss Eurocentric beauty standards, and this article shows a girl creating a program to combat the effects of Eurocentric beauty standards. And this shows people taking an action to make a change, and shows that these beauty standards are prevalent enough that people are taking action so that they aren't as prevalent and that everyone can be viewed as beautiful. And then another source is, Do Men Hold African American Women to Different Standards of Beauty? And this is used, and it shows that although women of color tend to be more curvaceous, African American men still prefer normal to underweight women as well as Caucasian men do. And another one is reading all that crazy white stuff. And this source shows Eurocentric beauty standards in literature and how an African American lady was in class and she was not feeling and getting the same understanding as her classmates because she was not as affected by these beauty standards, so she didn't understand literature in the same way. And it shows that these beauty standards are prevalent and that it's important to focus on them, not just from physical appearances, but from understanding and being united as a group of people and understanding the same things. And then the final source is Black and Proud Singlese Women Show an Eye-Opening Version of Freedom to an African American Writer. And this shows women who were wearing bright makeup because they weren't affected by Eurocentric views like we would be here, and would be more afraid to wear bright makeup as a woman of color because we are told it's not acceptable. And this shows what it's like to have Eurocentric beauty standards and what it's like not to have Eurocentric beauty standards, and is going to serve as a good comparison.